name's Damien Wills and welcome to GoFly Online. Today you'll be joining myself and Stephen Limpkin, flight instructor, in the SR20 Outbound model behind us. We'll be flying into Bundaberg. We'll be having a brief look at the procedures in relation to landing at Bundaberg as well as where to park. And we'll be getting a private tour from Sue from the Bundaberg Jabiru Aircraft factory. So we'll hope you enjoyed the video. Bundaberg, Cirrus, Sierra MLM is rolling 23, departing crosswind for Bundaberg, Calandra.
Welcome to GoFly Online. Today, Damien and I are doing a nice little flight up to Bundaberg where we're going to go and visit the Jabiru factory, an iconic Australian aircraft manufacturer. And Damien, what are we heading up there in, and what's your expectation of what we're going to see today?
Yeah, okay, so we're heading up in the SR20. It's a non-turbo Outbound system aircraft. We're cruising along land about 130 knots. We're just passing Sunshine Coast, a new runway, and we're on the autopilot at the moment. Obviously, still looking out for aircraft, but basically we're looking for about a 40-minute flight today. Beautiful weather on the Sunshine Coast. Bundaberg's a really good destination for private pilots or any pilot to visit. As you said, you've got the Jabiru factory there. You've got the town itself of Bundaberg, which is an historic township. You've got Bundaberg Rum Distillery there, and a lot of tourism on the coast there with Bagara, which is a beautiful coastal seaside village as well, which is only about a 15-minute taxi ride from Bundaberg Airport. So a really good place to visit. So we'll have a look at the actual approach and some of the things you need to keep in mind when you're flying into Bundaberg. But it's one of those airports that's really friendly, and they want visitors, and there's always plenty of parking there as well.
Damo, we've just passed Maryborough, and we're now sort of getting closer to Bundaberg. What are the things that we actually have to take into consideration now?
Yeah, sure. So it depends on obviously your aircraft performance. In the Cirrus, I like to start planning about 30 to 40 miles out. So obviously want to be on the correct area frequency, which we are on standby on that frequency. We're on comms 2. I've got Maryborough CTAF frequency selected, but I've also got on backup the AWIS or Automatic Weather Information Service for Bundaberg. Not all aerodromes have this, but a lot of registered aerodromes that have regular public transport have this automated weather service. So we're going to switch across to that now and just have a listen. So we'll switch across.
Minutes nil. Bundaberg, AWS Aerodrome weather. Wind 150 degrees magnetic, 7 knots. QNH 1021 hectopascals. Temperature 24. Clouds scattered 4,000 feet. Visibility 10 kilometers. Dew point 13. Humidity 50%.
There we go, so that's enough information for us. So we can see that the wind, what we're mainly looking for is the wind. Now these frequencies are obviously in our Ursa. So we can see the wind's coming from 150 magnetic at about 15 knots, which is what we sort of expected with the forecast. So it's really good that we can now plan for our arrival as far as what aerodrome what runway we're going to be using. So obviously that sort of favours runway 14. So in particular with a regular public transport, sort of a busy CTAF, we don't want to be overflying looking at the wind cycle when we've got jets coming in. So we can use the AWS, we can plan which runway and which leg we're going to join. So we're going to join a downwind, left hand on 14 for Bundaberg. Now if the wind changed before the AWS was updated, obviously we still check the wind cycle on downwind, and we can always change our mind once we're on downwind.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing we want to do is obviously plan our descent. We'll be starting a nice slow descent about 10 miles out today, which we did in the pre-flight planning phase. So that's important as well. And obviously just check our map that we are tracking, even though we've got the GPS. So now and then, depends on your aircraft, GPS might go out of service. Now we've just had a GPS failure. It's pretty rare. I could reboot it now, but we're pretty close to the aerodrome. So this is where good old-fashioned either have a physical map or at least 2 devices as backup. We've got here AvPlan backup on my iPad. Why it's important to have that backup as well, which we can see there we're tracking on the correct track as well. Still got the autopilot on, still looking out for other aircraft. So we're approaching around 10 miles now, so we've already switched across to CTAF, so we're going to give our inbound call. We're going to arrive around about 26. So looking at the traffic, listening out. And just double checking we're on the correct frequency, which we are, 1269, and we're on COM2, which we are. Bundaberg traffic, Cirrus Sierra Romeo Lima is 12 miles. To the south, 3,500 inbound, circuit time 26 Bundaberg. And we're just listening out for any other aircraft, which we can't hear. We still have our area frequency on backup. And we got the aerodrome out the front there, visual. Time's looking right, so always, even though we've got the autopilot, big picture, small picture time. Big picture, yeah, I can see we're there with Bundaberg that we've got the ocean to our right, township to the right of the aerodrome, and sort of flat, a few mountain ranges sort of to the left and to the north. Small picture, yeah, we can see that the aerodrome's located to the south west of the township, which we can see there. And the time absolutely makes sense. We should be where we are right now in relation to time, so it all cements itself together. I'm going to hand fly the rest, so I do enjoy hand flying. So I'm going to get rid of the autopilot. And we're obviously looking out for other aircraft. So we're going to switch tanks. So we're on downwind. Bundaberg traffic, Cirrus Sierra Romeo Lima is joining downwind, runway 14 Bundaberg. So we're at 1,100, aerodrome, can't see any other aircraft. We also check our windsock and downwind, do our pre-landing checks, brakes are off. Undercarriage down welder, mixture full rich. Pump is on. Prop, not quite fixed, but almost for a Cirrus. Instruments, all on the green. That's primary flight display. And we'll go to systems. Switches that are required to be on are on, this one is on. And windsock, yep, favouring 1-4, which is what I would like it when the plan comes together. Okay, my cabs is active, below 500 feet it will not be active, and I'll land straight ahead if we have an engine failure. Bundaberg traffic, Cirrus Sierra Romeo Lima, turning base runway 14, 4-star Bundaberg. We have a stabilised approach, airspeed stable, everything looking good.
Mate, you greased that. You have to be happy with that landing.
Fairly happy with that.
Okay, so now we're getting off at taxiway Delta.
That's the one. And flap, yep, we're right. Flaps are up. And Bundaberg traffic, Cirrus Sierra Romeo Lima is clear 14. Bundaberg. I need to make us an aircraft inbound so he knows we clear the runway. Yep. Circuit.
I'm Susan Woods. I'm the daughter of the designer of the aircraft, Rodney Stiff, and I've been here about 13 years. Jabiru's been open about 30 years, over 30 years. The mission of Jabiru's been to make flying affordable. Back in the day when my father first started, and he owned a share of a Cessna, but I think it needed about 5 of them in that Cessna syndicate to be able to afford ownership. So he wanted to make ownership of an aircraft possible for an individual, and so he wanted to make something very affordable to fly and to maintain.
What are you doing here? Testing an engine. It's just being built. Mainly just temperatures, exhaust temperatures and head temperatures.
The engine's been evolving over those 30 years. There's certainly just so many innovations along the road. This is what's called a CMM, or coordinate measuring machine, and its role is to measure all the components that we have dimensionally. So it's pivotal to our QA system. All the parts have to come in here, and they get mounted on a jig here, and then this little arm comes across and measures them all dimensionally. And it's driven by a program from this computer, and all the results are kept in the computer. And even when we have crankcases, the little probe has to come along and disappear down the tunnels and measure inside them, and then goes back and changes its probe to another one depending on what it's going to measure.
So we've got these two going to France, two are going to America. The American market's picked up again, which is good to see, and France haven't ordered for a little bit, which went through a bit of a dry patch and they've picked up again.
The comparison there. This then has to go through deburring, and it has to be measured on that CMM machine in there, and then it has to be fitted up with all of the bearings and remeasured on the CNC. So that's the process.
Yeah, sure.
The 170 is typically used in flight training schools, and this one in fact is going to a flight training school once the state borders have been dropped, and they can come up to collect it. So it's fully instrumentated with a glass cockpit, and it's quite a development from the early day Jabirus with the 6-packs, the analogue instruments. All of our aircraft go out with glass cockpits now, with all full engine monitoring on 6 EGTs and 6 CHTs for 6-cylinder engines, and lots of them now have the maps in the glass panels as well. We took the wings from the 230, which are a metre longer, and put them onto the fuselage of the 160, and that created the 170. We also later did some more work with the engine frame and put the engine further forward, giving much more space at the back of the engine for doing maintenance. Dad designed the engine because initially he had an Italian engine, and then the supply of that dried up overnight, so he had to embark on an engine as well that was exactly the same size and shape, so that it could meet the certification standards that the aircraft was already progressed through. So that's been the beginning, and from there we've just been changing with the market over the 30 years. Now we do mainly production aircraft rather than kit aircraft.
Well, thanks again for joining Stephen and I on GoFly Online today. Hope you really enjoyed the tour of the Jabiru factory. I'd like to thank Sue for being so generous with her time. And yeah, next time we hope to give you a bit more of a tour of the actual township of Bundaberg. We did run out of time today, and the seaside village of Bagara. But once again, thanks for joining us. Please remember to like our YouTube channel and also our online platform, GoFly.online. Thanks a lot.